Hey, welcome to another Brewster podcast. I'm back. This is Ted Schmidt, GM of the California Crusaders, and I'm back with Randy Weigand, GM of the San Fernando Bears. Thanks for showing up, Randy. I appreciate you being here.
No worries, man.
Okay, so I'm on vacation right now. I'm a little bit disorganized, so this is not going to be up to my typical bullshit quality. We're going to go kind of point 0.8 of my normal bullshit, so slightly lower than terrible. But this is the free agency review. We're doing a little earlier than normal. And there's a sim happening right now, so we'll be adding some stuff as we go. So bear with us. We're going to go division by division, and we will try to cover everything. Does that sound good to you, man?
Sure, you're the boss.
I am no one's boss. So I figured we will start with the division that thinks it is the best division in baseball, and they were for a bit, but I don't know if they are anymore. But that's a whole other day. But we'll start with.
I just want to say that the Pacific has the last two champions, so
It does, right? And those are some handsome gentlemen that run those teams.
indeed,
I don't. Oh God.
we win the
Okay.
Mr. Brewster Awards and the Landis titles.
Yes, we did. We do. So let's start with Des Moines. Des Moines. The way I generally do this is I look at what I thought the team needed, and then I might not always throw those in, but we'll do this kind of organized at the beginning. I thought Des Moines needed like front of the rotation starters, like a top two starter, and some corner outfielders and an impact bat. And they had about, the numbers I've got for what they had to spend were before free agent sim 4. This is about what I thought, compared to their budget. Revenue I'm wrong about, so I don't know what their revenue was, but this is the space between their payroll and budget. So Des Moines had about $25 million. And this is a theme that we're going to hear a lot. They've signed no one.
Well, they signed two guys.
They did?
Yeah, there was a sim yesterday.
Oh, did I miss this? They had signed to nobody before.
They did, but I went through in this morning, so I got you on this one, Ted.
Okay, sounds good. I'll catch up. You start reviewing. Sorry, Ed.
They signed Armando Castaneda for 1 year,
Okay. Jocko.
1 year, $2.3 million.
Okay.
And they signed Roberto Miranda for 1 year, $2.2 million. And my comment on these guys was actually the same. It was not sold on the bat and not a solution for their offensive woes.
No, and I think that's about the right price for Jocko Castaneda was a decent piece of those kind of like pre-rebuild or rebuilding Mexico City teams. He was okay, and he kind of he was a speed contact guy, and he's 31 now, but even a couple of years ago he'd slowed down, and Mexico City was not super happy with him anymore, and they were trying to move him, but that's not a bad price, $2.3 million for a year if they're gonna.
I don't think it's terrible, but they needed offense because we covered in multiple other podcasts. Both, I don't know about this one, but I know we have on some of the other ones. Des Moines' offense outside of Arriola and Moreland sucks.
Right, and Roberto Miranda's the older version of the same player, right? Like
Yeah.
he's got like his. So this is something I learned from Stever. I started looking a lot at I plus AVK. Like just add those together and find a number. Like if it's below 10, you're in trouble. Like it doesn't matter what they are, and there's the number's probably not 10, but like
Don't make me give Stever credit, but that's actually a pretty good idea that I hadn't thought of.
yeah, and I know we all hate to give Stever credit, but like that's a thing you look at. Like you can have a guy that doesn't walk if he doesn't strike out. You can have a guy that strikes out a lot if he walks, but you can't suck at both of them.
And if you find a guy that does both great, then
right,
awesome.
and that's the player that I didn't understand for a long time was Mike Love. I came into the league when Mike Love was a little bit older, and he was still getting on base like crazy and hitting with like 5 contact and then middling power. And I didn't understand how that dude kept doing it, but he had like 8 I and 10 AVK, and like, well, okay, yeah, his contact isn't good, but if he walks and doesn't strike out, he's going to see pitches, and eventually he's going to put one of them in play. And so anyway, the point being is Roberto Miranda he got for $2.2 million for a year, and he's not that different from Jocko Castaneda. And you're right, I don't think it gets it done. We usually at the beginning of these do a what we thought of free agency class in general, and unfortunately, I think this is the third year in a row where we've like this year is worse than last year. This was a crap class.
Yes, although I do think given the rise in extension demands, that we might be nearing the end of that. There might be some actual like good names getting like in their prime getting to free agency.
We were kicking this idea around in the governing board, or I kicked it around. I am the if you want to know any of the internal machinations of the governing board, 20% of the topics posted are me going, "Hey, this thing that's not broken. What about this idea?" And then everybody's like, "God damn it, Ted, it's not broken." But one of the things I kind of kicked around, and actually we're talking about a little bit, is getting rid of the service time restrictions on contract lengths. Because it used to be that if a guy was in the league for 2 years, you could just buy him at his initial ARB price for 10 to 15 seasons, and the game was stupid. It's doing a better job now of asking for realistic contracts, and I was kind of wondering. We'll take a look at it a little bit, but I was wondering if you could start just get rid of those,
like
or go with
basically let us keep like the 6-year max, but let you sign.
Yeah, let us buy out ARB. Let us sign and we were thinking like maybe like a 2-year. Like if once they've played 2 years, you can give them once they're arbitrating.
Or even
like
just keep the 3-year, but remove the you can't sign more than a 3-year extension.
Right.
Until they hit 5.
Or something along those lines. This isn't set in stone, and we might not even do anything. But they're asking for better stuff. And the reason I'm bringing this up is the model now seems to be that you ARB a guy or buy out individual ARB years, and then we all give them an extension, and they don't hit free agency until 32, 30, 31, 32, 33. If we are able to sign 6-year extensions after 2-3 years in the league, we're going to see a lot more under 30 guys hitting free agency. We'll get them cheap. We'll get them a little bit cheaper in a realistic way. The player will take certainty for potential future value, but they know they'll hit free agent. Like a la Bryce Harper, a la Mike Trout. They'll take those early. Not that Trout's not getting paid right now, but they'll take a somewhat smaller contract, knowing they'll hit free agency before 30. And I would love to see us do that. I don't know if we're going to get it done, but it'd be cool, I think.
Yeah, but anyway, I agree. I mean, I agree with what Des Moines was looking for, but I don't think they basically got some semi-functional bats, but not ones that are going to vastly improve their team.
Right. And the players, this is the year where I've got a lot of teams that need top 2 starters. Those weren't there. I get it.
Nope.
I got a lot of teams that need catchers. Those weren't there. I get it. We always need corner outfielders. That's where you can squeeze an impact bat in, even though there's a ton of them. And the interesting I thought with Des Moines, and this will be a theme for a bunch of teams, if Des Moines wants to win now, and I don't think Ed should try to win now. I've been saying for years, I know he doesn't want to, and I get it. They're his guys. I get it, but like he should have traded Moreland and Areola years ago.
I just asked about one of those gentlemen in the last few days and was told no.
Yeah, and I get that there's a difference between like in a vacuum what you quote unquote should do and what you want to do, because it's your team and you're in charge of it, and he wants to win with those guys, and I get that. But if he wants to win now and he has $25 million he could have spent, why didn't he get Hartsnett?
Yeah.
Why is he not throw $22 million, $23 million at Hartsnett? Like what's and you're going to sign Jaco Castaneda and Roberto Miranda? You needed the bat. You knew you needed bats. You signed outfielders. Why didn't you go get the one that actually mattered?
And to my knowledge, at least according to what the game was saying, Recty and I were the only ones going in on Hartsnett.
Yeah, we're going to get to Recty. I think he overpaid for him.
So did I, and I'm going to have to probably pay Lane as a result.
Right, but like...
Because he and I made that bet that Hartsnett would get more or less than...
Well, I got another bet with Lane from when I got drunk and talked crap about the dude he acquired. But, I hope I win that one. I'll look like a freaking genius. But, well, the good kind of genius, not the Brewster kind of genius. But, although he's fine too. I mean, this is Ted and Randy's keys to free agency are options on low-risk contracts and don't spend money on replacement-level players.
Yes.
Just don't do it. Like, if they're not going to get you... If
people should listen to us, because we win.
If you're going to get, like... Not platoon guys. I'm not talking about platoon guys. I'm talking about somebody you think you're going to play...
Every day.
Every day. If they're not going to give you two, and I'm not a war guy, I'm just using it for
Reference.
ease of talking about. If you're not going to get 2 to 3 wins out of a guy, don't pay them more than $1 million. Don't buy him at all. Like don't grab a guy that's not going to get you 2 to 3 WAR for any amount of money over the 500 to 800K. You're just pissing money away. Like it's just I don't know. I just tried. I disagree. Finger in the air, foot up on a pedestal, being an arrogant asshole. We see it constantly, just frittering away of money. Pull some asshole up out of your AAA system if you're going to do that.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Madison. Madison still hasn't signed anyone, correct?
Let me look.
They have no money.
I got to close because I have my Hall of Fame list open too from the podcast I was doing earlier. So let me minimize the number of documents I got open. Madison still has signed no one, with the caveat for all of these, the World Baseball Classic Sim is happening as we speak. So we'll get to those guys if they come in.
Okay, yeah. Well, we're going to recap at the end. Madison won't sign anybody. Madison had like $1 million or $2 million in cap space, or depending on how much they're paying coaches, no cap space. Madison needed starters, and they actually addressed that with trades. And Tyler and I are going to do a trade podcast later. So,
yep. And they spent an IFA, so.
Yeah. So, and the funny thing about it is I was looking at that, and I saw that contact guy, and I was like, I bet you Madison's going to get that guy. Sure enough.
I got one of them, too. My guy's like his dream IFA pickup. Well, let me pull him up, because it's literally like he's crafted for Wilson. He is, I think he's like 11 contact and 10 AVK. Yeah, 10 contact, 9 gap, 10 AVK. That is like a Chris Wilson player to a T.
Yep, absolutely. No, there were a ton of guys. So we'll see. It's just be random as to which ones turn out. So Omaha's next. Omaha did sign some people. They've been our darling recently, right? Like they've been the one that's like Omaha had a good free agency every year. And I had them. I'm not sure
it's the case this time. Newsflash.
No, yeah. Well, I don't know that anybody. I mean, this is such a bad class. I had them as needing a top. This is like every team says needs top 2 starter. We're on a starting pitching dearth. Have you noticed that? Like, I didn't notice that as I was going through. Everybody needs starters, and they're just like, and it's not they need like depth 3s and 4s and 5s, but there are not like aces. We're real low on just front of the rotation guys. They're all concentrated on a couple teams. One of them's mine, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and you won't give any of them up, greedy.
No, I won't. You asked. Tyler's asked me. A couple other people have asked me, and they're like, "Hey, what about this guy?" I'm like, "Nope, no, you can't have my left-hand starters."
I'm going to go back. You could have had Wee for Zeitler.
Oh, shut up. I could have had Wee for Rosado plus something or else, I think.
No, I wouldn't. I didn't want to take Rosado because I saw him. I saw where that one was heading.
I don't think he declined yet. I think when we were talking about him, he hadn't flopped at all, and I thought there was a possibility. I feel like there was a possibility of like Rosado plus like a 3-star prospect.
Maybe I was never going to center a deal around Rosado.
No, it wasn't. He wasn't the whole thing. It was always going to be something else. Anyway, nobody even knows who Felipe Rosado is, but you and me. So we'll just shut up, and move on. I thought that they needed Omaha needed the top 2 starter. I thought they needed to upgrade it either because of what. Oh god damn it! What's his dick? Because their center fielder that's great that I'm forgetting the name of, and I don't want to change the screen on because I don't want to
Omaha. They got Jimmy. Well. They had Jimmy Starks, but I think they're moving him to shortstop.
Well, that's my point, is they need to upgrade either center field or shortstop. Either they need to upgrade center field and leave Starks at shortstop, or they need to upgrade at shortstop and put Starks back in center field, or a DH. They just needed another big bat in one of those spots. And they had about $18 million to spend after they had signed Dave Molina and Martin Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, Molina was my guy once upon a time. I traded him to Ron. My comment on him was weird profile. He could go 30-30, but he might not break 200 in doing it. And how in the hell do you have a sub-400 slugging percentage and hit 27 homers?
Really?
Yeah. Like,
I didn't even see that.
That is a special kind of talent.
Holy shit. It's not even 20, it's 27. He hit 27 home runs in, 493 plate appearances and has a sub-400 slugging percentage.
I mean, that's incredible. He literally, he could really go 30-30. I mean, I'm not joking about that. He has the speed and the power.
He almost did. He was almost a sub. Oh my God. He was almost a negative WAR 30-30 last year. 27 home runs, 25 stolen bases, negative .1 WAR. That is some kind of special.
And he had less than 500. Like, what do you say? Less than 500 bats. So you give him a full season's worth of at bats, he probably does it.
Holy crap. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, it's great.
And he can field, too.
Oh, it's good shit. Wow. Good for you, Dave Molina. Break the numbers.
But I mean, I joke, he's a decent fourth outfielder.
Oh, here's where we start the thing that we start. Options. Why? Why no options?
Yeah.
We do this every year. He's 27. If we're going to give him a deal for 1 year, and maybe they know that they won't need a backup center fielder or whatever they think he is next year. Maybe that's why they did it. But, like, if that's not it, and it won't be for half the teams we're talking about, I don't know which ones are which because I can't figure out what their minds are doing most of the time because, we all think different things. But, like, if you're going to give him $2.4 million, you can't tell me this guy wouldn't have taken a $1.5 million option on there or, like, a $2 million or, like, why not? Just throw options at him.
With the exception of that, I mean, I don't hate this deal. It's not the greatest deal out there, but there are definitely worse ones.
No, like, I mean, what are the odds that he hits 30 home runs and steals 30 bases and is a negative WAR player again? Like, that's...
I mean, chances are one of those things is going to happen. Right, he's either going to go 30-30 or he's going to be negative WAR, and it's worth a bet to find out because, like I said, he can field too.
If it's both, just enjoy that shit, right? Like, it's good stuff.
But and then for Martin Cooper, I said if he's doing anything other than pinch running in the late innings or playing defense in the late innings, you're screwed.
Yeah, who cares about Martin Cooper, right? Like, he's a quad A player, doesn't belong in the bigs. Like, I mean, you can make a role for him out of the glove and the speed, but, like, if we didn't have 27-man rosters, he wouldn't be in the league. He doesn't even fit on it. Like on a 25-man roster, he doesn't get to play baseball. Twin Cities, I believe, would be next. Got there. I had Twin Cities had very little money to spend, and I had them as having no real needs. Like, I'm writing the previews for the Frick this year, so I'm gonna have to.
Are you sure? Are you sure Aaron's not doing that?
I'm pretty sure this year. I mean, last year we got our wires crossed, but hey, we had dueling previews. That's kind of nice.
That was actually pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
We agreed most of the time, which is the crazy thing. Aaron and I have been in leagues together for a while, and we disagree quite a bit. So it was interesting that we found most of the same stuff.
But Twin Cities, they got one guy, and it's Ted and Randy's favorite for this podcast.
Yeah, but I think he's done. Right?
I mean, he's a back end starter at this point, which they need. So
I don't even know if he's a back end starter. Like, his velocity is dropping. He wasn't good last year. If he's he's not going to rebound. I mean, it's not a bad price, 2.6 for him. It's low risk.
Yeah,
but
this is one where I'm okay not having options. We always talk about.
Yeah, 37-year-old, no options, totally fine. He's just taking a shot in the dark, and that's fine. Like, for a 37-year-old, but I think Tavio's done. Yellow Springs had no signings, I think, until this last one. They got Carlos Garcia back.
They did. It's a 1-year prove-it deal because it's 6.75, and then there's an opt-out and a team option, so it's basically a mutual option for another 6.75.
And that's not... Now, I got to look. Carlos Garcia, back in his early 20s, was a pretty good player, a decent player. Struck out a lot, but he walked. He got on base enough. He ran. He had some little bit of power. Not great power, but a little bit of power. Good glove. He has not really been that great. Like, he's been in the 85 to 90 weighted runs created plus range, which for a center fielder, you'll take... Oh, it's actually better than that. Little perk adjustment there. So, 90, 95 weighted runs created plus. So, just a marginally below league average hitter, which if they're playing good center field defense, yeah, you're happy with that, right?
Yeah. By the way, Brian Robson is playing shortstop in the World Baseball Classic, and he won the Platinum Stick.
Fucking Robson. Like, I I hate the World Baseball Classic. It's just a chance for my players to get hurt.
Apparently, Recti, he said, Wilson or Marco was asking about that, and Recti said he turned injuries off this year.
Okay, then that's fine. But like, I just,
Oh,
dude, by the way, Brian Robson got jobbed. I know that Nicola Machiavelli is a good center fielder, but like, Robson crushed him. Robson just missed a quarter of the, he missed 25% of the season because of injuries. So if you're going to give somebody like a Zimmer because they were played more games, that's not unreasonable. But on like a per game basis, Robson crushed everybody. Like he was he made like something like 40% of unlikely catches.
Wow.
He made like 70% of even.
So
like, it was just sick.
So there were only 4 signings this sim, by the way, that weren't extensions. Or actually 3 signings and 2 extensions, but one of the extensions is noteworthy.
We'll get to that. Let's finish up the stuff we're doing. We're moving kind of slowly here, so let's pound this stuff out. So that's Yellow Springs. We both think Carlos Garcia. Ron does good work. That was
I have no problem with Garcia.
That's a reasonable deal. Went after his own guy, got him back on Approve It. 29 years old. That's about right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Next,
and now he has a spot for him because I took Victor Guerra.
Yeah, I think Guerra's not going to be very good for you. I think he's in his decline phase. But, I've been wrong.
So, are we in the Pacific now?
We're in the Pacific now. I've tried, this is the second half of my notes. I did the Johnson first when I was making notes in the airport. But I'm trying to be alphabetical now. And I am alphabetically first.
You are?
In the Pacific. So I signed
2 guys.
I signed 2 guys. They're not real exciting, but I'm bringing back almost the entire team from last year, minus Newman Watson and Ronaldo Garza and some other people that don't matter. And I always need right-hand backups. Like I've got so many left-handed players that I just constantly am churning right-handed platoon players. So I signed Rich Ayers and Owen Stark.
And my comments on these, you practice what you preach with the team options, which I'm always glad to see.
Well, I learned it from you, man.
Ayers is a 4th outfielder, reasonable signing, not going to make or break you, and I like the structure of the deal. 1.7 and then team options for 2 and 1.9. And Owen Stark, I had what's 1.8 with a 1.8 team option. Solid infield backup, nice versatility, and you probably shouldn't start him.
No, he's not going to start. He is there so that Nico Pay does not have to play 40 fucking games against left-handed pitchers next year, where he was just awful.
So and he could start, and if a guy's out for a couple weeks with an injury, that's fine. But if he's your everyday starter,
I'm not real happy with Owen Stark. I wanted Alex Ramirez, that's re-signed with New Orleans, but New Orleans paid him like starter money, and I was trying to pay him like $3.5 million to be a backup. And,
don't worry, I have thoughts on Alex Ramirez that we'll get to.
Yeah, well, the problem is there were, again, like most free agencies, lots of people needed. Everybody needs second baseman and third baseman every year, and there just weren't any. This is such a shit class. Like, I have the same needs for, like I said earlier, for every team, and nobody got any of them. So, all right, well, mine's kind of boring. Well, let's talk about Long Beach. Long Beach in the past has had some fun deals for us, and when I made these notes, they had signed no players.
Let me check mine.
But they've signed players now. They have
signed some bullpen, including... let's see, Felix Alvarado for
the Cuban
$5
Missile?
million.
Is that Felix Alvarado? Is that who that is?
That's $5 million with $2 million. I had marked as an easy bonus. I think it was like 20 innings pitched.
Oh nope, he's not the Cuban Missile. Who the hell is named Cuban Missile? That's not no.
You think of JJ Elizondo?
No, there's like 4 or 5 Cuban Missiles.
Oh, so Felix Alvarado, good signing, but again, I'm going to repeat myself. A little more length maybe because I think he's worth it. Esteban Gil is Lane's favorite because he signs him every single year because he knows exactly what he's going to get and he's not going to pay him very much. And Mark Little, trending in the wrong direction, but you signed him to a 1-year, $1.5 million deal, so that's okay.
Yeah, Mark Little, I traded for an entire bullpen like 2 seasons ago. Not this last one, but the one before I had shit bullpen. And that's when I got Garza and Mark Little and one of the mini Jose Gutierrez's, I think. and all I just bought. Brooklyn was out of it. I bought their entire bullpen, and Mark Little is one hell of a loogie.
Yes,
He
he is.
used to be able to do both, but you're right. Like he's got that. My velocity's dropping, so he could hold up, or he could just disintegrate, and you just don't know which one it is.
Yeah, but again, it's only a 1-year deal, so you're fine with that.
Yep. This is such an exciting thing that we're doing with all of these players that matter. Let's talk about you. You signed Bob Sanderson.
I did. I
And
need
that is an
bullpen help.
incredible this is where we just talk to each other and pat each other on the backs and everyone hates us. I thought you needed like a middle of the rotation starter, which wasn't available. And then I think you might have, my note says that you need all kinds of relief pitching and maybe a DH, which you got with Garrett, with what's his name?
I needed a left field DH. I tried on Salazar. I whiffed. I tried on Harsnett. I whiffed. So I went and got Victor Guerra. I didn't even look at the starting pitching because I knew nobody there was better than what I had. So following the earlier conversation, I'm not going to pay somebody to be the same as what I already have on my roster.
Right.
And bullpen, I got Sanderson. I tried on Velasquez, and I tried on somebody else. I can't remember who. Didn't get them. So I'm hoping to do more. But I'm currently just with Bob Sanderson, and he is going to close for me.
See, you got Sanderson for nothing.
I was very happy with that.
Nothing. Like 3.7 and 2.7, which those aren't nothing. Those aren't cheap reliever prices. But for Bob Sanderson, who I know, he's not the guy he was back when he was with Huntsville.
Yes. But he's still better than what I have.
Well, he just put up a 3.61 ERA in 47 innings and a 3.65 ERA in 70 innings, almost 70 innings the year before that. And, 2033 wasn't his best year, but he was good in Jacksonville after he got out of shit Huntsville, back when it was shit Huntsville before Stever came back. His FIP wasn't great last year, but for a guy that has a pretty darn good chance of being a well above average reliever, that's a solid price. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, and my thing was I was trying to keep my books clear I just wanted 2 seasons or less with my guys, because in 2038 I'm going to have to pay and a couple other guys. So I wanted to try to keep everything as clear as I could up until then. So that's why Sanderson didn't get a longer deal, because I thought about it.
Well, he's a little older too, right? What's the point of giving him 5-6 years? You could have given him more options, but
yeah, but I didn't want to tie up the money because I might want.
So you can't even. That's a huge flaw in the game, that you can't offer. You can't early decline options, or you can't offer contracts because the option ties.
It is annoying, but I've adjusted and. Oh, hey, Victor Guerra bumped contact. That's fantastic. Awesome.
Newsom.
And AVK.
OTP is happening as we speak.
Indeed.
Everybody. It's quite exciting, unlike this podcast. Valencia. Let's move to Valencia. They, like everybody else, needed a, front-ish number 2, number 3 starter. They needed bullpen depth. They needed first base, second base, third base, and a corner outfielder. And
they've got prospects, though.
They do, but they're all left fielders, and they have left fielders.
Yeah.
So, normally my needs include kind of looking over the prospects and who I think is going to come up. I didn't have time to do that this time, so I have missed some things.
But Ray Perkins is the only guy that they signed.
No, they've got 2. They signed Freddie Bello.
That's a Rule 5 or whatever, or waiver claim.
Shut up, man. That just made me look
and I
bad.
know because Freddie Bello was somebody that I cut in the offseason rather than paying.
Oh, yeah. I have pulled it up now, and I am incorrect. You're right. Just Ray Perkins. It's not bad.
No,
right?
This is actually one of my favorite deals.
Wow.
Because
Lee making one of your, and this isn't to crap on Lee in terms of Lee doesn't play in free agency.
No, but if he's going to do more like this, he should. Or no, he shouldn't, because then he'll steal all the guys that I want. But I really like this deal. It is $2.4 million every year for 4 years, with the last 2 being team options. And Ray Perkins was rightfully declined by Vancouver because I think his arbitration was like $10 million a year. And he's not worth that, but he is certainly worth $10 million over 4 years.
Right, and he's nothing amazing. Like it's not like Ray Perkins, but he will
When you
give you okay innings.
when you see some of these other schmucks getting $2.5 million a year,
Yeah.
I'll I'll take the Ray Perkins.
Well, I agree. It's it's not exciting, but winning the things you need to do to win are not always exciting. That's just how it works. So we've knocked out 2 divisions now. We're just cruising along. I think, right? Is that 2 whole divisions? Yeah.
We do. Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, so we're on to the I still don't know the names of the divisions. The Frontier. That's right.
Oh no,
The,
we skipped Hawaii, but I don't know.
Oh,
if
we did. We skipped Hawaii because I thought they were in the Johnson still when I put my notes together because I
Hawaii
just can't
signed
figure
2
any of this
guys.
shit out.
Hawaii signed 2 guys.
They did, and it was just no, they signed
They got Jorge Vargas for 3.4 with the team option for 3.4, and they got Rob Fuller with a.
Oh no. Hawaii is my favorite team. You need to look at that contract a little bit better. They have my favoritist contracts of this entire thing.
Well, I don't. We've discussed the team options.
No, you're missing. You're still here. They
signed
Jorge Vargas.
I've downloaded
for
the new file.
$3,200,001.
Oh yeah, I just rounded that shit off.
Yeah, and they with a 3.4 for the next year, and then an option for 3.4. That's a reasonable price. Vargas has not been as good recently. I don't know that he is worth that money if he plays like he did the last couple of years. But I like this deal. And the reason I like it is because if he hits, his ratings are good enough to hit. I don't know that he could bounce back, and if he bounced back, that's a very flippable deal, right? Like
and he's good. He can play all across the outfield. And you're just hoping for an offensive resurgence, which is not unreasonable.
No, and that's great. The other one I like even more. I don't know what Mike was doing. Probably just entertaining himself while his team's bad. They'll be good soon. They got some good prospects, but signed Rob Fuller, and he signed Rob Fuller for 3.30 blah 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 $1, and then the next year was $3.38000 and then the team option the next year is 3. Blah 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 $003, and like I don't know.
And then did he go with the 4 for the 4th year as well?
No, the 4 was a 5. I don't know. I went with $5 for the 4th year.
Typo.
But he was clearly having some kind of fun.
Yeah, I do like that deal. It's a reasonable and it's a good length. My only question is Fuller's a bit of an injury risk. So giving longer term deals, even with options to a guy with injury risk is a little wary. But other than that, I like it.
Yeah, and Fuller, some people will look at Fuller last year and go, oh man, Rob Fuller had a 5.06 ERA last year, and he had a 4.45 ERA in 2033. Here's his FIP last year, or his FIP minus last year, 68. The FIP minus the year before that, 66. Like he is the FIP minus the year before that, 90, not as great, 95, 92, 76. But he is always, for people that don't know how FIP minus works, FIP minus is
100 is league average.
100's average. Below 100 is better than average. So like a 66 means that you are 34%, essentially 34% better than league average.
And that generally is what you find your like Nebraska caliber starters at.
Yeah, if you're a FIP minus, if you're a starter that's 66 FIP minus, you just won in Nebraska. Now relievers can be a little lower. Like when Skip Glendenning was a god with me, he had a FIP minus in like 45.
You should listen to these Skip Glendenning adult topic that we discussed on the podcast because there was a lot of wanking for Skip. Let's put it that way.
Just briefly, relievers in the Hall of Fame. I've been a little bit down on them. I should probably vote for the Mariano Riveras of the world. My general problem with relievers in the Hall of Fame is if they were a great pitcher, they would have been a starter.
I'm generally anti-reliever in the Hall of Fame, and even I voted for 2 guys this time.
Yeah, and I've looked at that again because I think the truly elite, unique relievers probably should get in. But it's in general though, it's kind of like even a guy like in Major League Baseball, even like Hoffman, like Nate Hoffman, yeah, Trevor.
Trevor.
I know he had a lot of saves, but like Mariano Rivera was something different. Mariano Rivera's cutter is one of the best pitches anyone has ever thrown in baseball. It was incredible.
Yep.
Um,
He's a unicorn.
yeah, but Trevor Hoffman really he was just pretty good for a long time, which is that maybe it's enough because he was a long time. Consistency out of relievers is pretty crazy, but it's just I don't know. It's a whole different debate. Okay, so we did Hawaii. So now we're on to a new division.
Yes,
right?
we are. We really like Hawaii.
We do because they're fun. But
not only that,
I have a note here.
Those are good deals in addition to being fun with numbers. Those are two good deals.
Speaking of fun, there was Kyle was talking a while back because there was an argument about not an argument, but like a kind of just a conversation about like players with ridiculous ratings. It started out with we get overly excited about stuff, and if people don't have good enough stuff as pitchers, we kind of discount them. And so we were talking about like the idea of like a 2-10-10 pitcher or something like that, and or like pitchers with no motion but amazing stuff. And we're gonna get to see Juan Trujillo, who is like rated as like one of the top 30 pitching prospects in baseball. He's 22 years old, and I think Hawaii is finally going to bring him up this year. 13 stuff, 9 control, 2 movement.
That's fantastic.
I want to know what happens.
Superdio's kind of like that too.
Yeah, but he's not as extreme, right? Like that's this. I mean, this is about as extreme as it gets. I just Trujillo's in the minors. In AAA the last couple of years, his home runs per 9 is 1.4, which isn't great. That's tolerable in the bigs, but if it balloons much more, it'll be interesting. But he's striking people out. He doesn't walk anybody. I want to know how this is going to go.
If you give up a bunch of solo homers, that's okay.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see what happens with that.
If you give up 2 homers a game, but nobody else is on base, you're doing all right. I'll take it.
Yeah, well, that's fair. You can always 5 innings, 2 solo home runs. I'd give that up.
Yep.
Every time. Boise. Let's do Boise. Boise has a GM that's new.
Yes, they do. It's a Chicago guy, but
I'm gonna beat that man up about barrel rolls until he never wants to hear about him anymore. But
yeah, so he signed 2 guys.
He did.
Ricardo Guzman, who 1 year, $2 million, great value, split neutral, perfect fit, but he's just a placeholder for Godzilla. That's all he is.
He is, and we're going to talk about that. Guzman's one of the ones I thought you could tack options on, an option. Why not? Why not just throw an option on the guy? But that's a reasonable price. Reasonable price for a guy that's a placeholder. That's I had them. Boise's in bad shape. Now, granted, Boise has $60 to $70 million to spend, but they need top starters. They need bullpen depth. They need they need almost every position player there is. So you know what though, they needed the bat, and Guzman fits just fine. Juan Jose Mayorga, but he's a warm body and he's making $1 million. That's reasonable.
And he's good in the clubhouse, which bad teams always need.
All right, so you brought him up. Let's talk about Yunosuke Terada, Godzilla.
Let me pull him up in HTML because my new file's downloading, so my game is out of commission right now. So.
I tried to trade for Augie Placencia, and Brett told me no because he was going to get this guy, who I didn't know who he was, but he was in talks with another team that was going to give him a monster-mashing first baseman. That turned out to be Fred, and Yunosuke is the player that he got. And my reaction at the time was, I offered you better. I don't think that's going to be a great hitter because, and he's bumped slightly. At the time of the trade, Terada was 6 contact, 9 power, 8 eye. He is now 7.99. He's right-handed. I don't like 7 contact right-handed first baseman. Like I don't I don't know. But you seem to think differently. You were pretty excited about Godzilla.
I know. I mean, I'd have to look at him. I'm not overly, but either way, I mean, that's clearly the future. So whether or not he's a good future, he's the future.
Well, and he shouldn't have been in AAA last year. If I could do anything, one thing with this league, if I could do anything, I would make people stop holding on. We've got a rash of I'm not going to play people because it doesn't matter this year. Terada on a bad Boise was bad. Boise was bad. They did not have a better option at first base. It's just become accepted now, and I don't like this style of managing. I think it's unfair to other people in the league. I think it screws up the talent distribution. I don't like. It's wrong. But yeah, everyone does it now. Whatever. But
for what it's worth, by the way, he has JJ Mayorga as his number 1 starter. I don't know.
Well, his starting's terrible, so it's not surprising. But it's not, again, it's not the new guy's fault. Whose name I'm forgetting, other than the fact that he's what?
Ryan.
Yeah, he's Star Fox to me. He'll always be Star Fox to me because it's the best thing ever. It's one of my favorite games. Terada last year hit 29 doubles and 46 home runs with an OPS over 1,000 in AAA, while Boise was losing all of those games and had no payroll. That's the definition of tanking. That is the definition of tanking.
Now I'll give Boise a little bit of slack because they had the weird GM change in the middle of the year, and
sure. No, I'm not blaming Ryan. I'm not blaming Brett. There was weird shit going on, but this guy should have been in the major leagues.
Yes, he should.
Period.
Yes, he should.
And this is not just this one player. This is all over the place now, and it needs to stop. It just stop it. Said my piece. Anyway, yep. So Boise needed the miracle. This was not the free agency to have a miracle in, so Boise's going to suck next year.
Yeah,
but the deals they made.
But I was going to say, to give Boise credit, and I give the new guy always
he didn't hurt himself, right?
He did not kill himself with long-term deals.
He didn't sit there and go like, he wasn't like, my team's bad, I got to buy players, and like we see so many new guys do. Good job, Ryan.
So, yeah, he gets a gold star for that. Way to not kill your team in your first free agency, especially because Boise was going to suck no matter what they did.
Well, let's move on to Calgary, who, as you and I were talking before this, doesn't need to do anything ever again because they got three frickin' times they got like 5-star players in scouting fines, and then they signed another one in international free agency. But that's just good money management. Gosh darn it! Why don't the OTP gods love me? Well, says the dude who won a championship. Fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, asshole. Ted. People are not gonna cry for you and I.
No. The point, you know what it is though? It's the difference between process and results. Like, I'm thrilled that I won a championship. I am geeked about it. It was a great run. It was an exciting team. That Ricardo Diaz start, and you talked me into doing it. And that Ricardo Diaz start is one of the most like magical, exciting, fun things that happened. It wears off so fast, but that was process, and so like I love that championship. To me, way more exciting than the one I had 11 years ago. 11 years ago, I took over a team that was just destitute. You know, we were making negative $20 million a year. We were $80 million in the hole. Like, I ripped everything. I tore it down to the tax. I sold everything I could. I did not get draft picks. The highest I ever picked was 8. I wasn't bottom feeding for draft picks. I had a couple decent people in the minors, and and Ron beats this to death. I made money.
Yep.
I tore it down, and what my goal was to not accumulate draft picks. My goal was to build a revenue stream, was to build the ability to continue to make money. And as I made more money, I added more players and made more money and added more players. And I was like, you know what, I'm doing good. I got pieces here. I got stuff. Maybe in 3-4 years, I'll be a contender. And then I won a championship.
Which is funny because I took over a shit team, did kind of the complete opposite thing, and also won a championship. So both ways can work.
No, both ways can work, but that first one was an accident. Like, I mean, I had a decent team, but it wasn't like... This one, I was getting frustrated because I felt my team was better than the results I had recently, and the process bore out last year, and like so that was a really fulfilling one. But on the other hand, it also keeps me from being exciting about it because in my mind I should have won one.
Yeah, I'm just salty
maybe not that year, but like
I'm just salty because I had you 3-1 and you got off the hook.
I know, man, that was exciting.
In that, because
I thought it was done.
I feel it would have been really funny if I had faced Aaron too, since I would have because I knocked him out in a classic 7-gamer last year in the Johnson finals.
Yeah, now, man, when I was down 3-1 to you, I was like, here we go again. I'm done. That's the same thing every year. Okay, Calgary. Calgary didn't need anybody. Bitched about their IFA stuff or scouting fines. They didn't need anybody. That's scary how Calgary doesn't need anybody.
They signed
didn't
one
have much
guy.
money.
They signed one guy.
They signed a fun guy, right? Like I think he's the most fun guy in this free agent class. I don't know that he's going to be any good.
He's a legit two-way player.
Right. Well, in that like he has the ratings to do both, but he also hasn't like he's a league average hitter. His ratings make it seem like he should be a little bit better. Like he should be like a decent lefty bat, but he's not. He's a league average hitter. He's a mediocre to average defender, and he should be able to be a loogie. Or maybe even a reliever, but he hasn't been great at that either. He's been okay. But, he's still fun, and kudos for versatility.
And he's the guy that you keep on the roster because he can be a fourth outfielder, or he can be a depth bullpen guy.
Right, or like a left-handed bat off the bench. Like he's and basically in my mind what Calgary did here is they spent $3 million and they earned a roster spot.
Yep.
They now have a 28-man roster.
And that contract is fair too.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. I tried to get him. I think I offered like a couple $100,000 less. I was I don't know that he'll be any good, but again, he's probably the most fun player, at least in interest, which is saying a lot about how poor this free agency is. But he's probably the most fun player in it.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone's still listening, we're just going through crap boring signings out of this crap boring free agency, one player at a time. Edmonton. What's up?
Almost done with the Frick.
We're almost done with the Frick. We're going to do the Johnson as well, but that'll be a separate podcast that we record at a different time. Totally not right after we finish this one.
Totally not after we refill the drinks.
Right. Yeah, not at all.
Reload time.
Edmonton's up next. Edmonton. They're slowly.
My computer is frozen, so I can't. I'll offer my opinions when I can actually see what they signed.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what they signed. They signed it. I've done this twice now. I've been drinking all day, guys. I'm sorry. The beach is nice, by the way. I am burnt. I always try not to burn the first day. I failed.
Mustache tan.
Yeah, pretty much. Edmonton needed, again, like everybody else, like a 2 or a good 3 starter, and they needed middle infielders and a corner outfielder, a DH. It's what I've said for every team because that's what everyone needs right now. They did need like a second baseman, and they signed one. They signed Juan Rodriguez, who used to be a good player in Huntsville.
Right, they got Juan Rodriguez.
And last year was surprisingly good in Long Beach.
Yeah, I remember that guy. I hate him. The fiery passion.
Because he is a mediocre to crap defender. And,
no, because he's who I traded Dave Wilfer for. And then he was terrible for me. And I dumped him on Omaha for Angel Garcia the first time I traded for Angel Garcia.
All right. So what do you think about paying him $5 million a year for 2 years and then a team option that probably won't get picked up for 7.5? So let's ignore that. What do you think about $5 million a year for a couple of years for Juan Rodriguez?
I think it's a little much. Let me see. My computer's actually working now. So my comments on Juan Rodriguez were infield flexibility because he can play everywhere and play it well. Bit of an overpay, and his entire value is the fact that he is a versatile defender who can. He
was almost a 3-win player last year, but in 2034 he was replacement level, and in 2033 he was just above replacement level.
Yeah,
and
that was when I had
2032 he was replacement level. So it's kind of like I don't know who you're getting. If you get the guy from last year, it's okay. It's a decent price. It's actually a decent price. But I don't know that you'll get that.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then they
You
also
say
signed
like
Ricardo Valera.
like I don't care about him. I think. Oh wait, no, I said good low risk gamble, but losing velocity most likely will suck.
I
That's what my
said
notes say.
meh, bullpen depth on a mediocre team.
Yeah. I am disappointed in Edmonton. I think you picked them to break out by now when we did the. I didn't look. I was going to look at the our picks for who would not make the playoffs, and
I
you
might
had them coming on soon or stronger. I think soon, and I don't know what's happened in Edmonton. They should be contending by now, and maybe they will this coming year. Maybe this year is the year they jump forward, but last year they were garbage.
and it's not like their division is that great either.
No, I don't know. I hope this team jumps forward. Otherwise, there's times where you look at stuff and you're like, I don't know. I would rather be wrong and be able to figure out why I'm wrong than to not know why something's happening. To just look at it and be like, I don't.
Well, the problem with Edmonton is they had all those great prospects, but except for Bobby Lynch, they were all outfielders.
Right. They don't have a team.
And we were saying even a couple years ago, they need to trade some of these outfielders for infielders, and they haven't done it.
So, and I'm a bit of a baseball. Like, for all of my sabermetricness, I'm a bit of a baseball traditionalist. You win with, in my mind, argue all you want with me, you win with pitching and defense up the middle. Period. It's pitching, defense up the middle, and hit home runs. And while they've got a wave of starters coming through, like they finally got their other non-Bobby Lynch starters looking good, so that could be what pushes them over the edge here.
Parrish should be good. Spruill might be okay.
Maxine Manso, he's a back. He's a reasonable guy.
He's a good middle. He's a good 3, 4, 5 guy.
Yeah, like they've got some options there now. They didn't have anything before. They need to work on that bullpen. It's still just a fucking tire fire, and but they're not strong up the middle. I mean, they've got a center fielder, but like third base is garbage. Luis Soto is way past his decent years. So maybe that's the thing with them is they've just got parts. They've got some good, talented parts, but they don't have a whole, and maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. By the way, I went and looked at the predictions that we made. Nobody picked you to win a title in the next 3 years from that, or 5 years from that point.
Well, shit. Before last season started, I was wondering if I was going to make the playoffs. It just felt like I was on my way down.
I lost 2 of my no playoff teams because I said Brooklyn and Mexico City wouldn't make the playoffs in 4 years. Tyler remarkably still has all of his. And
he's a smart dude.
And you have all of yours.
For not or for
you, all the guys that you said would not make the playoffs have in fact not made the playoffs.
I'm a solid pessimist. I'm not good about picking the optimism, but you tell me if I'm good at telling you who's going to suck.
And Tyler is winning that because he did pick me to win the title, whereas you did not, and I did. So you
don't have pitching, man. So I can't believe in you.
But this was before I won the Landis. So he and I both got a point for that one. But I have missed. So Tyler is the king of the Effectively Wild contest for now.
We'll see. I feel like I can come on strong here. Let's talk about Seattle. Seattle needed both. Seattle's surprisingly strong too. Like I thought they would need more pieces, especially losing what's his name? But I had them as needing some bullpen depth and first base and second base, and there were no second basemen, so just ignore that. They signed one of my least favorite players because he's just not my kind of guy.
Jeremy Carter?
No, Groucho is fine. They've got a bunch of backup catchers. They've got 3 backup catchers. So I figure Jeremy Carter for the price $2.6 million that they signed him at, he'll fit into that group nicely. Give that guy 60, 70 games, mostly against left-handed pitching. He'll be fine. That's okay. I hate John Woods.
He is a loogie. I have loogie supreme.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
That's all he does.
Well, he paid him less than $2 million.
Yeah,
and with the team option, it's a fine. The price is fine.
We're done. Seattle did okay free agency, but they signed an extension that needs to be discussed in this last sim.
Did they now?
They signed Alfredo Contreras to a 6-year, $74 million extension.
million.
$1 million. Now, my file has not downloaded yet, so I can't see the structure of that. Actually, it has. So let me pull up the structure of that. Please hold.
That's like $12 million a year, right? That's not bad. That's like pretty
like,
good.
No, I think it's a great deal. I just want to see how great it really is. I'm pulling it up, but that caught my eye because, like I said, their free agent signings were fine. I mean,
oh, dude, that's like Alfredo Contreras for 12 a year. That's what that is. That's 12 or
yeah,
12
it's
to 13.
12 and change. But I'm pulling up the exact structure of it. Hold on.
God damn, I'm glad that team's out of my division.
That's I mean, I was going to give him a MAC graded free agency, but that might have just.
I wasn't going to. Seattle didn't have much money. I wasn't going to give them a bag grade. There just wasn't a whole lot to do, and they didn't do a whole lot to get it. So, all right, well, you look at that stuff. I am going to talk about Vancouver. You know what? No, I'm not, because I don't want to do this without you. Because
well, I can talk while it's loading up. My game is. Hold on. Here we go. It's all right. Here we go. His rotation is all sorts of screwed up right now, so I need to go into the actual rosters because he must have lost a bunch of guys to the international league because his rotation has like no players on it. But hold on.
Oh, I'm bored. You're boring everybody.
I know. Sorry.
This is terrible.
But when we talk about a great extension from one of the best pitchers in the league, I think it's worth it.
I don't know that Alfredo Contreras is one of the best pitchers in the league. He has any given year he can be, but he gives up too many home runs. So if he's in a year where he's given up home runs, he's...
All right, here we go. It is 11-5 the first year, 12-5 for the next 5 years, with the last year being a team option, with a $2.6 million buyout, $1 million for winning the Nebraska, and $220,000 for making the All-Star game.
No, I mean, that's a great deal for Contreras. He is...
for all we just said, he's not one of the elite pitchers in the league. He's well worth that deal.
Absolutely. He's worth... I mean, I would expect him to get $3 to $4 million a year, more than that.
I would have gladly paid him $3 or $4 million more. I would have paid him probably $5 or $6 million more than that, because that deal will take him. He will turn 30 the day before, or in February before the season starts. So he will actually turn 30 during spring training. So that will take him for his 31 through 36-year-old seasons, which he should still be a useful pitcher.
I'm glad that's out of my division.
That's a good.
Well done. A word I like is penultimate. I don't know why. I think it's snooty and arrogant, which is what I am. But I didn't get to say it this time. So Vancouver is the ultimate, I guess, team of this series on the Frick.
Yes.
And Vancouver,
woof.
I had needing...
woof.
Yeah. No, I meant to say woof. I actually tried to, honestly. Like, I just think probably didn't hear it that way. Cause
all right, let's
woof.
I guess I'll start with my favorite deal of this, which is Jorge Garza, because it's a reasonable flyer. It was 1 year, $3 million.
No, it's not.
I might have given him 2 or 3 years, but can he only be a DH at this point?
That's why it's not. He can only be a DH. That's too much money for a 104 weighted runs created plus. So he is just marginally above league average hitter.
But thing, I'm not saying it's a great deal. I'm saying it's my favorite deal of the 3 that they gave.
Right, and the thing about this is just so crazy to me, right, is that Joe has been on a rant, and with good stuff. I mean, like the Bertram Hahn Lazy Boy was one of the best things. Like, it's just a fantastic piece of writing.
And that Bertram Hahn deal was atrocious. I'll give him that. That was...
Yeah, he got saddled with some awful, awful, awful deals, and he got out of them. And then he signed 2 awful, awful, awful deals. Like, he just pissed away the money that he saved. Like, Cristo Coronado, like... What?
I mean, Rockville's Park dramatically inflates batting average. We know this. Aaron builds his team around it. That's one of the reasons why he's so good, because he gets guys that fit great in his park.
But there are ways to know this. Like, WOBA is park adjusted. Weighted runs created is park adjusted. Like, this is an 87. He is 13% worse than league average hitter.
Not only that,
and
Vancouver's Park kills hitters.
Right, and he's not a good third baseman.
Now, the one thing I will have to say, I don't want to. The structure of this deal is good because it starts at 10, then goes 8-8 with a $6 million team option. The structure is good, but the numbers are double what they should be. Double.
Just War again. You're talking to the guy that's not the War guy. Like I use War as a talking point. I think it's deeply flawed, but I do think that like it's roughly okay. The reason I think it's deeply flawed is I think people try to use it with more precision than you can. Like to me, there is no difference between 5 and 6 War. Zero. Like that's the same player. There's enough error bar in there that like you really most of the time can't tell. But roughly 2 War is the guy where you're like, that's a reasonably decent starter that I'm happy with. Cristo Coronado has never done that ever. At any point in he's topped at 1.4. And, like, even if you don't know that Rockville inflates batting average, he's a 269 career hitter. Okay? He's at 300 on-base percentage. That's a shit on-base percentage for a career. He does have a little pop, but not a lot. His career ISO power is less than 200. Like, I don't get it. He's a right-handed 6-contact 4-eye batter. That's AAA.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean.
So and again, this isn't, I don't know everything, and I have been blatantly wrong about players that have been able to be good or bad and way off. So it's not so much that I think that like there's no chance that Joe knows something I don't and this will work out okay. It's the size of the contract after all the noise he made about having bad contracts. Like it's so strange.
And he's got 3 years locked into it. It's not like it's a 1-year bad deal where you eat it and you get out of it after you realize what a terrible deal it is. And we've done bad contracts. I had the Lacaz deal that probably is one of the worst in the league given out in the last 5 years.
Right. And I paid Fernando Moreno way too much money, and the only reason it's working out is because I gimmicked the hell out of my park to where it's a joke so that he can hit home runs again.
So it's not like we're not saying that we only give out good deals. Like I've given out and Lacaz, I wasn't even bidding on anybody. It was an extension, so I can't even say that I needed to pay him that much to keep him.
No, it's the stark contrast of Joe going from I'm stuck with these unbearable deals to dumping them finally, then immediately signing an unbearable deal. Like it's so nuts. The other one and the other signing is Colby Stevens, who's a AAA player. Again,
and he was really excited about that one. I think he even mentioned Stevens by name, that he was really happy to get him.
Yeah, and it'd be awesome if Joe's just like, if this guy just tears it up for him. He saw something we did, and it'll fit in the park. Like, and that is, Vancouver righties can hit there a little better. So maybe both these guys will overachieve a little bit. But here's another one where it's like we were talking earlier about, like spending money on things that aren't any better than what you can just pull up out of your farm system. I've got like 3 guys in my farm system that look like Colby Stevens that I can't even put out well, hold on, I don't bet 3. Colby Stevens, 6'6", 5'4", Let's go look at what George Bernal, who I've lost in the Rule 5 draft 3 years in a row and keeps getting returned to me because nobody cares enough.
And it's not like he's all world with the glove either. Like, no, it's not like he's Katzenbagen, where the bat is atrocious, but he's like a 15-12 catcher.
As much as I make Katzenbagen's glove is amazing, he's 15. His composite rating is 15, which is insane. I don't think he's a big leaguer. I think his bat's going to be so bad.
I agree, but that one's at least worth trying out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't do it because I like my guys to have one useful offensive skill, whether it be contact or power or something.
All right, Jorge Bernal.
Like Katzenbagen, but I could see why somebody would because that defense is just incredible.
Colby Stevens is a right-handed bat. Read me his 5 ratings again.
I gotta pull him up. Hold on, because I don't have that shit.
Oh wait, nope, I got it. Okay, Colby Stevens, right-handed, 27 years old, 6 contact, 6 gap power, 5 home run power, 4i, 7 ABK. Jorge Bernal, 28 years old, right-handed bat. This guy gets taken in the Rule 5 every year from me and gets returned. 6 contact, 6 gap, 5 power, 4i, 7 ABK, 8 as a catcher. What's Colby Stevens? 8 as a catcher. So he just paid $3 million to a guy that I get returned to me after being drafted in the Rule 5 3 years in a row.
And it wasn't like it was a 1-year deal either. It's a 2.8 and then a team option for 2.4. Now, Joe's expressed his disdain for long podcasts, so he probably isn't listening at this point anyway. But
he's got a point. These things all run too goddamn long.
Not disagreeing, but I think he's my big loser of the frickin'.
Yeah, this was a boring free agency, and thank goodness we got to just crucify somebody at the end.
Scott's gone, so we can't crucify him anymore.
Yeah, and I don't, like I said, this is just a bunch of spitballing, and we're just, we're trying to come up with something to say.
To be fair, we gave Ryan credit earlier from Boise for not killing his team with
who's your frick winner?
Contracts.
In this shit garbage free agency, who's your frick winner? I think it's Ryan. He took over a team that had $1 billion to spend and needed everything, and he didn't make the mistake that so many new people make and spend money on shit that won't make a difference. And
I would say as far as the smartest team was Boise. If you look at the best as far as contracts actually signed, I would say Hawaii.
Yeah. Also fun, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're looking at overall,
games.
The best job as far as signing and I mean, selfishly, I think I'm happy getting Sanderson. But I don't think that one signing is enough to win me free agency. I think I improved my team in free agency, which puts me in the upper third of the league, probably.
I'm just skimming through the guys that signed this sim that just came up. That's the other league. Calgary signed, that's an extension. Seattle signed free agent Rafael Morales to a 2-year contract worth $3.5 million. Nobody cares enough to talk about that. I think I'm bored now. I'm good. Well, maybe we'll move on to the okay. All right. So that's it for the Frick free agency wrap up. If you're still listening, hopefully there'll be decent free agents sometime in the future, so we have things to actually talk about and not just keep rambling about dumb bullshit. Thanks for being here, Andy, and we're totally not just gonna pretend that this is over and then wait 20 seconds and start another one.